This 1965 Jazzmaster has come into the workshop for, well, a really much needed refret. The frets are now down to 0.5 millimetre, and in places where the strings have worn grooves into the fret wire, a lot less than that, 0.3 of a millimetre. So it really does need a refret now, and once that's done, this guitar is just going to pop back into life. It's going to sustain and sing and just play so much better than it currently does. Hopefully from that camera angle you can see the deep grooves in the fretboard, particularly in that sort of 1st to 7th fret area that 50 years of playing has created on this Jazzmaster. And if I just put a light behind a fretboard radius gauge, then you can sort of see it a bit more clearly. Particularly on that 2nd fret. These grooves are quite significant. And one of my considerations is to what extent do I level the fretboard once the frets are out to create a consistent 7 1/4 radius up and down the fretboard. And if I do that, I know that the frets are going to seat well, and therefore the refret will be done as well as it can. But equally, I don't want to lose all of this wear that is part of the character and life of this old Jazzmaster. So once I've got the frets out, I'll have a look at that and make a judgment as to what extent I do some work on the fretboard to ensure that, really it's about keeping the character of the guitar, but also ensuring that the refret is done properly and well, and therefore the guitar plays as well as it can. So as you can see, I've taken out a number of frets along the fretboard. Now, what's important to know about Fenders of this age is that the frets were installed in a rather unusual manner. Most frets are pushed in from the top, but Fender used this method of pulling the frets in from one side, from the bass side through to the treble. So if you then take the frets out through the top of the fingerboard, there is a dangerous chipping out some of the fingerboard, rosewood in this case, as that's done, because the tang has not broken through the fret wire when it's first installed. So what I would ideally do is to create a ledge using a Dremel tool on the treble side, and then tap out the fret wire using this sort of modified tool. And that's the best way to take them out. However, the problem I have, and I tried this on the 1st fret, is the frets are so low on the treble side at maybe sort of 0.3 or 0.4 that I can't create sufficient ledge in this area here for this tool to rest again and allow me to tap out the fret wire. So I'm going to have to take the frets out in a conventional manner and just pull them out through the top of the fret wire. And I have done top of the fretboard, and I have done that successfully on many old Fenders of this age, but you just have to be really careful in doing so. Otherwise you end up with a really sort of messy fretboard with lots of chips where you sort of pull the fret wire out. So the first thing I'm going to do is just, using a soldering iron, just heat up the fret wire. And what that just helps to do is just to soften the wood fibres around the fret slot. Then as I take out the fret wire, just getting this first purchase, that's actually quite easy, that one. So as I take out the fret wire, I'm pushing down with my nippers, my tool, as I push under the fret wire, just to minimize fret chipping. So that one came out just fine. That came out much easier than these other frets. So let's just have a go at another one. Yeah, it's much harder to get under the fret wire on this first one. There we go. Again, I'm just pushing down on the fretboard. Yeah, it's taking at least twice as long as it would ordinarily do to remove the frets. Again, no chipping. That's great. Yeah, so far I've taken out, what's that, sort of seven frets. There's no chipping at all. So confident now I can just take out the rest of these frets and then start to prep the fingerboard for the installation of the new frets. This fingerboard is now prepped and ready for the installation of the new fret wire. With regard to the heavy finger wear that we find in these first half dozen frets or so, what I've done is just dress over the top of the fretboard just to take off enough of the wood to ensure that we have a consistent 7 1/4 radius across the fretboard, and that means that the frets will seat well. But I haven't tried to sort of sand through and eliminate this old wear, so the fretboard is going to look pretty similar to how it was prior to the old frets being taken out. But I'm also confident that a good fret job will be achieved. But just one other thing I want to point out before I go any further. So hopefully the camera can pick this up, but if we look at the base side of these fret slots here, we can see that there's an indentation on this part of the fretboard, which is not found on the treble side. And that's due to the way that the frets were installed on the 60s Fender fretboard. So the fret wire has been pulled across the face of the fretboard, and in doing so it's just worn these indentations on this side of the fretboard. Now I'm hoping this is not going to cause any problems in terms of the way the new fret wire seats on the fretboard, but there might be some irregularities on this side. But it's also just evidence of the way that the installation process for Fender fret wire was different, and evidence of this pulling the fret wire across the face of the fingerboard.